I will present actually two cases today. I will make the introduction to both cases that are on the agenda and tell you a little bit about the setup of the cases, the background, and then I'll hand over to the project owners of the corresponding cases for them to tell you more about the outcome, but also the hiccups and obstacles of the cases. So the first thing that I will present is the case of open innovation and crowdsourcing in South Tyrol. That's a region in Italy. And yeah, with me, Kathrin will present you afterwards all the insights that she has. So yeah, South Tyrol, it's a small region. You can see it over here. It's about half the size of Connecticut. There's 520,000 people living there. They speak 3 languages, so they speak Italian, but also German. That are the main languages that they speak. And they have a lot of small companies. So they have 44,000 companies, of which 14,000 are like craftsmen. So really, really small companies. And on average, they only have 4.2 employees. So really, really small. And they only spend a little bit of money on R&D. So only 0.75% of their GDP they spend on R&D. If you want to compare that to the US, it's like 2.75% in the US. So that's a very unique region with very unique challenges. And what we did there, and I've supported this process, especially in the beginning, we did open innovation. So we started a crowdsourcing platform with several contests. And over the time, 18 idea competitions were performed. And all of these focused on small companies. So it was really about helping small companies in the innovation process, really getting ideas into the innovation process and helping them leverage resources that they don't have internally. Over the years, so this started in 2012, almost 2,700 people registered on the platform, so we created an own platform. We've heard now a lot about different communities that are big and companies just go there and post their challenges, but this is really like a local community. It's very much focused on the area. Still, there are like a lot of visitors from different countries coming to the platform, so in total like over 130 different countries that have at some point had contact to the platform. And in these 18 competitions, 1,600 ideas were collected and enriched with over 2,000 comments. But that's not all that we've done there. We've also extended this. And besides the crowdsourcing that we've already heard a lot about today, we've also introduced crowdfunding. So really extended the crowdsourcing part with crowdfunding. And this has been done 2 years ago in 2016. And here you can really see that it's a local community that's only funding ideas from South Tyrol. So again, like the small companies putting their ideas on the crowdfunding platform. And they've raised about 150,000 US dollars from almost 500 people. Backers are also more local. So you can see it's like from the countries that also speak the languages, so Italian, German, Austrian, and Swiss people who really are engaged in the funding process. And in this process, L4H, who is guiding all this platform and services, they really offer like the full support around everything that is happening here. So now I would like to hand over to Kathrin to tell you more about like some cases. So we have 4 cases, 2 from crowdsourcing and 2 from crowdfunding, and about the hiccups and obstacles that we occurred on the way.
Thank you, Niclas. Good afternoon to everybody. I'm really glad to present you our cases. I'm a project manager at LVH. We are the business association, and we have about 8,000 craft companies where we represent the interests. We are also trying to offer services so that the companies can improve their businesses, so like traditional services as tax consultancy. But we as Office of Innovation, we support them also in this phase. And the first case, this is really a good example of how open innovation works on a regional scale. The carpenter Davide Kompler, you can see here, he wanted to extend his business area, introducing a new furnishing concept for children. And the first element should be a bed that grows with the child itself, so from baby age until adolescence. That did not exist before. And so he asked the crowd, how could such a bed look like? And the contest ran about 2 months, and I can show you the winning idea. So our crowd, we have quite a small crowd, but it's a random crowd. So people, there are some professionists, but also not. So everybody can access and post the ideas. we try to go to those people that maybe have some solution, in this case maybe parents who have children who know the needs, and you can see the quality of the idea in this case is quite good. You have a good rendering, and you can see here after 3 years of development you have the final product. So the first obstacle you had here, or we saw in this contest, is that you have to keep on the development phase. So you get an idea, but it's just a raw idea, because he had to check if all the modules can be changed, that they work in every single way. And this was really a challenging point for this company. Today he sells in different countries, and he was also awarded this year with the German Design Award. So this is really the best practice from idea generation then to the market entry. The question, or the question that we made in this case to the audience, was clear and well framed. So this was really a good way to do that. Another case, so our platform, we don't only host projects from the crafts people, we also open to other companies such as agricultural, or in this case the two businessmen. It's more technical competition, and this was one of our challenges. So how does the crowd react to such a contest, where in this case one particular thing is, here we had the solution ready. So this is a quick release link with a rotating pin, just to be correct. And I also have something here that you can take a look afterwards. So they had the solution ready, and they were looking for a new field of application. So we don't start with the problem, but the problem in this case, we have the solution ready, and they are looking for new application fields. And as you can see here, we have, let's say, only 35 ideas and 11 participants. Here we could see that the question was not that concrete. It was much more difficult for the crowd to understand the product itself. So you had to read a lot. It took them time, and it was not that easy, let's say, to understand. And here you can see the winner of the third prize. It's Luca Adeoti. Even though the company got, let's say, a winning idea, the relationship then was built up with Luca, and they started, let's say, a collaboration, or they tried to make a smaller version of this quickie system, as it is called, and just to enter also a new field of application. So still today they are looking for an application field, so NASA maybe you can have use it. So to sum it up, when companies come to us asking for help, they don't know that they want to do open innovation. So they are not coming, so yay, we want to do open innovation. So they usually don't know the term, and it's very difficult. So let's say to explain it to them. Often after the first meeting, we propose this tool as possible solution to them. And also the crowd, so it's better not to call it like that. Another point is that the CEO needs totally to be convinced to do this, to be open, because in the case of Ars Mechanica Dolomiti, one of their owners was, let's say, sitting in the jury meeting and was like, oh, what am I doing here? So why am I, why did we do that? And it was then, let's say, difficult also for us. And yeah, in our case, the questions should not be too technical. So check what crowd do you have, how can you address to them, and of course also the jury needs to be informed well. In our case, we have, let's say, 2 selection phases. There is one pre-selection where we, with the company, evaluate the ideas according to certain criteria, and afterwards a jury of experts, again according to that criteria, evaluates. But here the evaluation needs to be precise, otherwise there arise some problems. And of course, one of the biggest things, you need to put effort in this open innovation contest, not only during the contest, but afterwards in the development phase. And for us, yeah, our community is in the creative industries part, and it's better not to change things in the contest after the contest has launched. This is one big message. So we as business association, we saw that our companies, the craftsmen, they are very creative. They have already a lot of ideas. They are also able to develop them until the prototype is ready. But they really struggle with the commercialization of that product. So to go to the market, to sell it. So therefore we were thinking on, let's provide them a solution so that they can do this market entry. And therefore the crowdfunding for us was like a natural development of the platform, to have one place where idea competitions and then the funding part goes on. And so Tobias Nussbaumer is a mason, stone mason master, and he developed about three years ago, you cannot see it very well here, it's a lamp made of stone, so a hanging lamp made of stone, very beautiful black stone with minerals inside, so very nice effect when the light is shining. And he had the prototype there, ready, a real invention, but he, let's say, did nothing out of it until the crowdfunding platform came and we presented the product there, and he could really do, thanks to the crowdfunding, a market test. We are using reward-based crowdfunding, and so people could pre-order this lamp, and yeah, we were really happy that he did it. He reached the funding goal. He collected more than 13,000 euro. It might not be enough for you, a lot of money for you, but in this case, this really changed for him a lot. We also do a lot of press work and media communication, and this is also important because, as you can see, Tobias is a one businessman, he's alone, he doesn't have time to do all that stuff to promote also the project. And in this case, turning back, the idea itself was very innovative, so people could understand at first glance that this is a lamp, this is something special, so everybody knew what's going on. In the second case of Aaron Andres, he's a web developer, and he had once the idea to, let's say, invent or to do a smart color, a color if the dog runs away and people find it, they can just scan this, let's say, this wooden chip, and they know who's the pet owner. I was really convinced that we will make this project and we will fund it. But as you can see, only 7% funded. It was really, let's say, disappointing for us. And the crucial point was that the people did not understand the technology used in this chip. So he used NFC, an NFC chip. People were asking, why don't you use GPS? That's better. But we described everything, why NFC is better. And so people do not read. So they can write everything there, they don't read. So you really need to present something that you understand immediately. So this could be one of the obstacles. Here's one slide. I tried to summarize everything. We have, let's say, hiccups and obstacles on 3 different layers. It's the first one is belongs to the project itself, the acquisition for us as LVH in, let's say, building the community, and also for us as, let's say, our business model, how can we sustain that? And of course, I already said some things. One point I would like to highlight is the network. So you need, as company, you need a network where you go to, especially when you talk about crowdfunding. Otherwise, you cannot do that, and it's too much effort that you put inside. The acquisition, in 2016, in South Tyrol, nobody knew about crowdfunding. even the young people never heard about crowdfunding. So we had to disseminate, we had to do a lot of communication work, we did a lot of events. We started joking with the word itself, because Kraut in German, it's cabbage, it's something to eat. And we started making jokes about that. And today we have, let's say, beer mats where we have typical South Tyrolean recipes with this joke on it. So people really loved it. And so you need to be aware that you need the communication. Of course, you need also sponsors. And if you go, so the company still needs to go to another company or to the crowd to ask for money, and possibly they go directly, personally, they have really face-to-face talks. This is much more easier for the company. Yeah, and for us, LVOH, why did we do this entire stuff? For us, it was also a risk-taking, and we wanted to really be a facilitator for innovation in South Tyrol. We do the entire consulting. We collaborate with Hive for the technical support, and since 2 years we also operate with a payment system for all the payment transactions. So you have 3 stakeholders here. You need to communicate, and also that's let's say needs to be done properly. And of course, we are a non-profit association, so it's for us important how do we cover the cost. We run on our ERDF project, so where we have public money at disposition, but it's for us also challenging to how to evolve in the future. Okay, here you see some. Oh no, don't see it well. Some photos of our events. Yeah, we are looking forward to the next years and to the next projects, and thanks for your attention. I give the word back to Niclas.
So yeah, and I'll just continue with the next case really quickly. So as you may have heard already from Johan, or I'll tell you again, we have Hive from Munich, so Germany, but we now also have an office in Indonesia, and we want to tell you about a case, so very different region, from like Central Europe to Asia now, about Bandung. Bandung is a city in Indonesia that faces a lot of issues. So it's a large city, 3 million people, and they face issues, you would almost say they're like kind of Asian issues, like environmental issues, security issues, health issues, mobility, transportation, education. So a lot of problems that they are actually having. But on the other hand, there's also a lot of opportunity, and especially when we think about crowdsourcing and the digital approaches that we can do. So they have 3 million citizens, and they are regarded as very creative, a very creative city, like the creative hotspot of Indonesia. Then Indonesia in total has like 140 million people who are online, of 270 million people, so a lot of people. Just the pure quantity is very impressive. And they have a mayor who's very engaged in making Bandung a better place. And what we have done is start with a crowdsourcing campaign. So one-off contest on a platform that Hive provided and supported. And what we did there is we collected over 1,700 ideas. We had a lot of great discussion on the community. So you can see 15,000 comments, so really engaged, and more than 5,000 participants. So for a launch platform, this is really huge. Like, this was the first contest, and already a lot of engagement, a lot of interest from the people. So yeah, this has been like a year ago, and they are already seeing results. So the topic of the first contest was "If I Were the Mayor." So it was really, the mayor was behind the entire initiative, and he said, "What would you do if you were me for a day? What would you do?" And we also incentivized the people by giving them the chance to be with the mayor for one day. And we had some really good ideas coming out of the contest, and one has actually been implemented. And I will hand over to Irma to tell you what has happened, what has been implemented, and yeah, what kind of obstacle, hiccups we experienced, and where we are now.